Anthony, when we come out of break, you're up next.
We're on the march.
All I want is my due process and my country back. But General Motors paid, what was it, total $22 billion to ship the Volt plants, the Cadillac plants, and some of their other car manufacturing to China, Brazil, Eastern Europe, and Mexico. So you paid in the bailout money, your tax money, to ship it out of the country. And they just announce it. If those aren't traitors, because it's one thing if companies want to leave. You know, we should have tariffs that are fair. Of course, we don't. Shouldn't have tax incentives. No, there's a reason everything left the country. Because we have traitors running the nation. This story's up at drudgereport.com. It's our report from Infowars.com. Rand Paul launches campaign to end the TSA. Very important. We need to all get behind that. I got a lot of other news I want to go over with Gerald Celente and also ask what's on his radar screen. But biggest news in a long time here, confirming what we already knew. I mean, they're saying the president wants a law to secretly disappear you. And then people are like, oh, it doesn't say that. Yeah, it does, the president says, and he's not going to sign it, but he did sign it. And then he wasn't going to use it, but now he says, I may. And they're training the police to do this type of stuff. And so you've got to admit the system's bad. Stop living in denial. We got to go back the other direction. Not live in denial and go deeper into this. Leaked U.S. Army document outlines plan for re-education camps in America. Political activists would be pacified to sympathize with the government. And it's an amazing article with the PDF and the screenshots highlighted where it says it's for the American people domestically over and over again. And again, I've been to the drills. They're training the military to take us on. So the minority of people are there on the article at Infowars.com denying that it says that. Oh, like the NDAA and the Patriot Act and all of it. Gerald Celente, again, is our guest. Let's talk to Anthony in California, who's got a comment on this. Anthony?
Hey, how you doing, Alex?
Good.
Great. I just want to say I'm not actually military myself, but I did work alongside with a lot of military people. And I got to talk to some of them who've been on multiple tours, like you were just saying, and who knows what really, what's really going on. Now, if I could get in a couple of things, if I may. The first is, you've helped awaken me, and I've talked to a lot of these guys. I used to have a security job that hired a lot of them on and off duty. One person in particular was an active duty soldier who returned from Iraq, who is now deployed in Afghanistan. Around the time bin Laden's supposed death, when all those contracts were placed in the returning soldiers, we talked about Dr. Steve Kuchenik's information. He brought up one of his best friends in the Navy was actually on the ship that was carrying bin Laden's body, and said that nothing was actually dropped into the water. No real body was dropped into the water.
Well, they had the biggest discipline in decades of that ship. It was 80-plus people they claimed were smoking marijuana and dishonorably discharged them. And the intel we got is that it was a cover-up. Let me ask Gerald Celente of trendsresearch.com or trendsjournal.com, what's your take on the bin Laden thing? I mean, the SEALs have come out and said, stop acting like a hero. Stop using us as ammunition for your re-election campaign. And the media is like, wow, he's a hero. Bill Clinton runs ads saying he's a hero because he made the hard decision. Meanwhile, the Navy SEAL helicopter blew up that they supposedly put the body on. That's a way to say you got him. Have the helicopter fly out, land, take off, blow up. The other SEALs speak out. Their helicopter blows up. 25 of them or whatever die. Then it turns out they were going to save Rangers. That wasn't true. I mean, I guess we're just supposed to believe all this, Gerald.
We did a whole Trends Journal on it when it happened. And we said that if this was a Hollywood movie, it would have been panned by the critics. It was one lie after another. We have it in detail, and I'm going to send it to you. We wrote about it as it happened. And all of the backtracks and lies, like you remember that famous photo when all of, there was Biden and Hillary Clinton, and they're all intent looking at the so-called video of this thing taking place live. And then we find out, that's not really what happened at all. It was one lie after another. The lies are always there, Alex. You remember the Gulf of Tonkin incident that started the Vietnam War that never happened. I'm sure we've all seen over and over those massive amounts of photos of weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al-Qaeda that never happened. And it's the same thing with this whole situation with bin Laden. It was one big lie. The story kept falling apart, and they kept changing it. And what I'm going to do is we're going to email you that Trends Journal where it's all outlined in chapter and verse from last year. And that was the beginning, by the way, of Obama's meteoric rise from the slumps of his campaign. If you go back to that time, you remember that Donald Trump was going after him. Oh, and oddly enough, do you know when he did that May 1st, following the big prostitute dinner, when making jokes and all these lame jokes, so everybody laughs, ho, 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 ho. Yeah, that's the day he did it. He was getting bombed by Trump, and then all of a sudden Obama ran, his ratings went to 60%. Following up on that little prostitute, that altar boy over there, Chris Matthews, this is what he said. Congressman Moran, Democratic Virginia, I was so proud of him because I imagine being a soldier over there. This is what you want to hear. The troops are backed up by the people at home. And there you have your commander-in-chief there with you personally. It's great stuff, Matthews said. Quote, he is our commander-in-chief, and not just by claiming to be, but by acting as commander-in-chief should act. This was a commander-in-chief speech. It was not political. It was motivational. It was exactly what the troops needed to hear, and just as important, what their families need to hear back home, Moran said. Moran said? How about moron said? This is another tough guy. You know what this guy was doing during the Vietnam War? He was on a sports scholarship. All of these guys talking tough. What I feel like if I was over there, and these guys have never fought a day in their lives. Oh, and this is what we want to hear. Don't tell me what we want to hear. Tell me what you like because you're a little suck up.
Exactly. Most polls show upwards of 80% have wanted us out of Afghanistan for years. And they just sit there and say, this is what the people want to hear. It'd be like you went to a restaurant and they brought out a bucket of horse manure and said, this is the steak you ordered. And I'm like, no, that's horse manure. And they're like, no, this is what you want. And I'll send you to a re-education camp if you don't like it. Anything else you want to add quickly, Anthony, about information?
Yeah, just two more things, if I may, real quick. The second, a friend of...
Yeah, we didn't disconnect you there, Anthony. Oh, boy. Every time that happens, I get emails. You covered that up with the secret info. Is Anthony gone? I see he's still on the phone. I think his phone must have died. Put him on
Bomber's office.
Okay. Your phone was cutting out. Go ahead and finish.
Oh, okay, yeah. I can just see them in the office saying, no, SEAL Team 6 has more of a good ring to it. They're actually referred to as a Rev Squad, according to my friend of the Navy. And one last thing, Alex.
Sir, your phone cut out for about 20 seconds. Repeat what you said.
Okay, can you hear me now, Alex?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, my friend of the Navy, he actually, I referred to him about SEAL Team 6, and he said that's just the poster boy name used by the media. The real name of the squad, supposedly, that killed bin Laden was called Rev Squad. And a third thing, if I may, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, a third thing, if I may, a lot of these guys thank me for bringing a lot of this information to them because they've served multiple tours. They see what's going on. They recommended I look into journalism, and I did submit a video for the reporter contest. I haven't seen posted yet. I hope you get to it. If not, there are a lot of great submissions. And
sir, we are trying to get it all posted, but we want to dull it out because if we put more than 15 out a day, then people won't watch them. We do plan to start doling some out and actually airing them on air, but God bless you. Yeah, look, all the military I've talked to doesn't buy this. And I talked to a Navy SEAL here in Austin, who I've known for years. I'll just leave it at that. And his family's here. And he has a friend in SEAL Team 6, and he said they don't buy it. And he said, yeah, they think they were sabotaged in that helicopter that had 20-plus on board that died. And it was a fake mission. It was on the news. They were battling Al-Qaeda saving the Rangers. Turned out it wasn't even a real mission. They just put them on, flew them out, it blew up. And the media had to admit that wasn't true. Same thing with Pat Tillman. He was charging an al-Qaeda bomb emplacement, machine guns, and got taken out. Of course, turned out they killed him. The Army coroner said they murdered him. So the good news is everybody's not lying, Gerald. But, I mean, look at that. The Pat Tillman, all of it.
And how about that other one, that young girl in Iraq? Remember that one?
Private Lynch.
Yeah. I mean, they keep making this stuff up. Here's that Trends Journal, by the way, the direct democracy issue. And this is from the summer of 2011. And here's the quote I said: "Is cinema showing a Hollywood B movie as incoherent and unconvincing as Obama versus Osama would be mercilessly panned by film critics." Here's the story right here. It began with this great story: Obama watched bin Laden die on live video as shootout beamed to White House. There it is. It's right there. They tell the whole story. By the next day, the script was already beginning to change. There was no firefight. No one fired on Navy SEALs in bin Laden's house. Only one of Osama's associates was armed, and he was killed in an adjacent guest house at the start of the Iraq operation.
If you even believe that, then they dump him in the water.
Remember this one. And an unarmed Osama did not use his wife as a human shield, like the prostitutes said they did, like the White House lied that they did. What was first described as an elaborate fortified $1 million compound was neither elaborate nor fortified. One lie after the next. We outline every one of them. And yet here it is. The whole thing has been recast, and you have guys like that moron Moran and that prostitute Matthews saluting our commander-in-chief. Let me tell you what I believe a commander-in-chief is. You want to call yourself a commander-in-chief, Jocko? Go lead the troops. Go command, chief. Stop shooting off your mouth like you're a tough guy and go over there with the soldiers, live with them, and go lead the charge. And by the way, I include everyone else in that. Anyone that wants to talk tough and be tough, pack up your gear and go fight. Leave me out of your psycho trip.
Well, that's it. And I hear these guys that call in and say, parking lot, kill them all. They can't even find the country. I mean, Iraq did nothing to us. Our government put Saddam in power. This is the reality of this. Now, Gerald, expanding on this, because I want to go back to some more phone calls. But looking at the election landscape, seeing where this is all going, Mittens, Romney, Barack Obama, all the rest of it, what are you forecasting in the election?
Well, what we forecast back on October 3rd, our trend alert. Obama wins again. And that's the way we see it at this point. You have all the Obama apologists. You could go down the line of all the backtracks that he's done. And they keep saying, oh, I like Obama. Oh, you know, he tried and he just can't get anything done. And you give them one lie, one backtrack after another, and they just dismiss it. So Romney, as we said in that trend alert way back when it comes to healthcare, for example,